Welcome back. A Consumer First Alert taking action against illegal robocalls like this.
I'm from Medicare. We're sending out the new cards, and I need to confirm your billing information to keep your coverage active. For your protection, I need the last four numbers of your Social Security number. We need this urgently, or else you'll be charged a fee.
Well, here's proof that your complaints can lead to action. The Wisconsin Attorney General is warning 4 phone companies suspected of allowing millions of robocalls in Wisconsin. Those calls include government imposter scam calls like IRS, Social Security, Medicare, auto warranty, utility and tech support scams, Amazon, Apple, DirecTV imposters, cable discount scams. The list goes on. An investigation shows spoofing phone numbers and violations of the Do Not Call list. Josh Call is among 51 state attorneys general in an anti-robocall multi-state task force. They shared findings of an FCC investigation tracing millions of suspected illegal calls reported by customers. That task force sent warning letters to 4 phone companies: KWK Communications in Las Vegas, Inbound out of New Jersey, AKA Management in Wyoming, and Callvox in New York. Wisconsin Attorney General Call saying those companies must ensure that they're taking the steps necessary to stop consumers from receiving a large volume of illegal robocalls. And coming up tonight on Action 2 News at 4:30 in my Consumer First Alert, I'll talk with Cami Rapson explaining how you reporting these scam calls can help take action.